Hey flower folks, welcome to Sheer Inspirations. In today's video we are going to be talking about two of the most frequently asked questions here on my channel. The number one question that I get asked all the time is, how do I water my garden? And number two is, how often do I water in the summer versus in the winter? So tackling the number one point is, I absolutely do not like watering by hand. I live in an area that is very arid and windy and hot. In the summertime it's 100+ degrees and it's constantly windy. So for me to stand around and water, most of that water is going to blow on me and it's not viable. And as far as hand watering on the nicer days, I would rather be harvesting the cut flowers and making bouquets out here than hand watering. So personally, I am a seeder and a harvester, not necessarily a hand waterer. So the way how I have resolved this issue is by hooking up this octopus looking thingy with these 8 little legs. And what this is a drip line hooked onto my sprinklers. Now both of these parts, this part and this little pipe, I got for about $5 max, and I unscrewed my sprinkler head and put that male-female thread part in, and then put this one on top. Now I'll go ahead and leave the links of the pictures that you can see if you want to go ahead and make a purchase of this, or you can go to your local hardware store and get these. Now as far as these lines are concerned, this is a 1/4 inch, and if you notice right here, they have emitters. So these lines have emitters every 6 inches. And what I did was I got 100 feet of this 1/4 inch drip tape, and I divided that into 12. You ask why 12? There's 8 here and then 4 right here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 100-foot tape divided by 12, I got about 8.3 or so in each of these lines. And the emitters, if you see them getting fat right here, what it is every 6 inches they water. Now they vary in distance. You can also get 9, and I also believe there's one that's 18 inches apart. So that works very well. Now as far as the ends, because that would be the next thing, how do you cover the end of these? And I'll show you, where is one of the ends? Right here, right there. You can get these in different drippings. So for example, this one drips about 1 gallon of water in 20 minutes. You can also get one that drips only half a gallon in 20 minutes, and so on and so forth. So all of the lines that are a total of 12 that are coiled all around here have those in the end. And this covers the entire thing. So, and this is on timer, so I don't ever have to come out here and hand water any of this. And I have had this for about 2 years and it works great. The other option, besides the emitters every 6 inches or so, you can also get soaker hose. In my personal experience, the soaker hose, after a while, gets sun rotted or weather rotted, because most of my garden is in partial shade, and I felt that after 2 or 3 months, it started having spray issues. It started spraying water from all directions, and I wasn't very happy about that, even though it was high quality. So instead, I invested in this drip tape of about, I believe $15 for 100 feet. And I've had this system for about 2 years, and I hooked this all up by myself. And it has worked great for me. So this is something else to mention here. The reason why I replaced my sprinklers for these is because this entire garden was not getting the coverage that it needed. So most of the water was coming up to about right here, and then this area would just be dry and I would have to come out here and hand water, which I absolutely hate. So what I did was I went ahead and replaced them to try and see how it worked out. And first I went with soaker hose, and then second, when the soaker hose were having leaks and stuff, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do the drip tape instead. And it's worked great. So that's number one way. Way number two is very common, and that is the sprinklers. Most of us know, because we use this in our gardens in our everyday life anyway. It does have very good coverage as far as the garden is concerned. Most of my garden, all of this area of the garden is on sprinklers, and I have about 8 of them total, and it works great. The only con that I want to say is the fact that, you see, it leaves that stain mark on the other side of my neighbor's driveway. Unfortunately, whenever we live this close to a neighborhood, you're watering your neighbor's yard. When they water, they're neighboring the other side, and that's just kind of the name of the game, sadly. But for me, the reason why I don't like it is because I feel that it is wasting water. That water should be going in the ground. But anyhow, it's work. It's just something that I've learned to deal with. Instead of replacing the entire thing, all of this bed with drip lines, I've just let them be. So those were my 2 ways. Now, talking about the second most asked question, which is, how often do I water the garden? So this is something that I have 2 schedules for. I have a winter schedule and a summer schedule. My summer schedule begins when my last frost hits. So around the 20th of March is when my last frost is. And that's when I convert my watering system for twice a day. Once in the morning, once in the evening, both times before the sun comes up. 15 minutes each time it waters. And I water once at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the other I water at around 8:30 in the evening. And what that does is it allows the plants to actually soak in the water at night when it's not 100+ degrees outside. And they actually get to soak in it and get prepared for the next day's worth of 100+ degree weather. And I have seen that it works great instead of watering in the middle of the day. So I never water when there's sun out. The winter schedule is similar, but I only water once a day in the winter. And that is in the evening. So the sun goes down at around 4:30 or so, and I would water for about 15 minutes in the evening. And the reason why that helps is when you have frost at night, the plants are well watered and not bone dry. They are able to withhold their leaves and withhold their blooming ability, and whatever it is that they're doing, if they're perennials, that it helps them to remain wet at night while the chances of frost hit. I live in a very mild area. The weather never really goes down below 19 degrees. That's I've ever seen it, the coldest I've ever seen it. So that's the winter schedule. So once a day after the sun goes down for 15 minutes, and in the summer twice a day once the sun goes down and before the sun comes up. Now the only difference that I guess if you are applying this into your garden would be if you are gardening in an area where it rains a lot. So of course you would then adjust that schedule of how often you water. You may not even feel the need to do drip lines or any watering system. You may be happily doing hand watering, and that's fine. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are doing a container garden or a raised bed garden, same exact thing can be applied. You can purchase the drip lines and hook that up into a timer, and it works like a charm. It is amazing. You can go on vacation, you can do other chores in the garden instead of standing around and watering the garden as a chore. That was the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.